Hey all, welcome back to the Mad LiberTEA party where up is down, left is right, the rum is always gone, and the world is full of clowns. The rules don't matter. No one cares. We're all mad. And as I like to say, madness is always more fun with friends. And today we have an old friend back with us on
Howdy.
the show. You guys welcome Max. We're gonna chat about some cool citizen journalist stuff and Arizona and all that kinds of stuff. So, Max, for those of who are here and they haven't been here, would you like to introduce yourself just a little bit?
Yeah. So for those of you who have joined since the latest couple of spikes in subscribership, I'm Max. I used to be with the Mad Liberty Party. I was a regular on their Spilling the Liberty show. And this is how I got my start in journalism. Mike taught me everything I know, which is admittedly not much yet. And I've
Terrifying.
been and I've been rocking and rolling ever since. This is so I came into this community about 2 years ago. Since then, I've been banned twice and promoted 3 times, and then and I've been taking a bit of a break from working with MLTP purely so I could go explore my own independent nonsense for a while.
Independent nonsense. Well,
I feel
you've
like
still been
independent nonsense aptly describes what I do.
fair. I mean, like, I guess. I don't know if I'd call it nonsense. I think you're doing good stuff. But, I mean, I'm kind of biased, probably.
Yeah, because I'm the Liberty Babu, right?
Well, yeah, you are, and that makes it special. You're the special
I'm
Liberty
special.
Babu. Um,
Feels
yeah, no,
okay. It
I
feels really weird
absolutely.
being interviewed instead of being the interviewer.
I know, isn't it weird? Like, it's totally screwy. You're on the wrong side.
It's like,
I've
wait, I
never
have
had to
to be
get
professional now. I
interviewed.
don't get to shit post. I could still
Like,
shit post.
here
Who
in
am
a
I
few
kidding?
weeks, I'm gonna get interviewed too, and it's gonna be all fucking weird.
Oh
Like, I'm
my
not gonna be
god.
able to handle it. It's gonna be strange. Um, but I wanted to bring you on because, well, we never did your We the People of Liberty, and even though you're not part of Liberty anymore, I really think that your story is kind of interesting. Um, like, because you were not always a Liberty person.
No,
Um,
I used to be a Marxist, and then, well, before that, I was apolitical. I was a fucking kid, and then I picked up Das Kapital when I was in like fucking 6th grade or something, and that lasted too long.
what do you think draws the youth to communism?
Well,
Do you have an opinion on that?
yes, I do. I do. I think that when you're in like junior high and early on in high school, you don't have a job yet. You don't have much responsibility yet. Everything is already provided to you by other people. Your parents subsidize your entire being until you're pretty much 18 for most people. So being in a situation where you don't understand where it all comes from, you just see food show up on the table, it seems really logical that, hey, everybody should get this. But you're not seeing all the work necessarily behind the screens or behind the scenes. You're not seeing all of the processes that go into play for you to have that food show up on the table and that little glowing rectangle in your hand and the TV, well, the big glowing rectangle on the wall. You just have these luxuries and these things, and they just come, and you don't think too much about it till you have to be the one making some of them.
I mean, like that makes sense. I I somehow as a kid I didn't turn into a communist, but I did
I mean,
almost turn
yeah,
into a
because
communist.
well, you were a mutualist, and I don't even know what that means. So
Nobody knows what that means.
I'm just gonna assume it meant you're. I'm just going to assume you were a commie like the rest of us, like every other person when they were junior in high school.
No, I thought that for sure I was a little bit. I've never really fucking gone with it.
Mike is
Well,
special.
yeah, I'm special. No, I was roaring towards Black Flag when I was a kid already, though. Like it didn't last. The mutualism didn't last that long. Uh,
Yeah, you were
I went through
you
a
were
stage
never
of
the type
something I'm
person.
probably not gonna go on and on about on fucking screen, but like
Yeah,
that
yeah.
was still not communist. It was like eco-anarchist or something. I
You're
don't
one
know.
of
Like,
those greenies.
oh yeah, I was like, animals are people too. I still
Fucking
like
people like
animals
breaking
more than
into the
people.
chicken coops and liberating the birds.
Liberate the animals. I
Bert,
took the animal farm a little bit too fucking seriously.
yeah, while I was advocating for doing Animal Farm, you were starting to free the animals in the farm.
Yeah, basically. Like I don't know if that counts as communism though. Like I don't think I ever got really super close to that
Well,
except for like
because all animals are equal. You
yeah,
never got the some animals are more equal than others part.
every man and animal's a king. No one wears a crown or something like that.
See, this is why I call it nonsense.
Nonsense. So like you kind of like came to us because of drag, right?
Um, well, actually, no. A good
It
friend
was
of
not the
mine.
drag group. I thought
I,
it. I
I
thought you
was
came from the drag group.
I was in the Dreg group, but I never interacted with you because I was never active on there because it was a shit show.
Oh
But
God, it was. Yeah, like I
that was
loved
when
it, but it was still a shit show.
so when I came into LiberTEA, I was past being a Marxist. I thought Trotsky was pretty dope for a while, but then I realized like, oh shit, no, he slaughtered Ukrainians. Um, and then I'm like, hey, wait, you know who was pretty based? The Ukrainians, mock no time. So
Oh
I
my
was in my
God.
Ancom phase when a good friend of mine at the time was introduced to you guys through the Dreg server. So you found somebody on the Dreg server who dragged my ass over with you, and I got promptly banned.
Yeah, like almost immediately.
I think
But
I
I,
lasted a
I
week.
didn't. You didn't get banned. You got kicked. Like we
Oh yeah,
would
well,
never
oh yeah,
actually
I
ban
got
you, but like
kicked. I got kicked, and then because I'm a stubborn piece of shit, I refused to come back out of
yeah, that was
principle.
it.
Yeah,
Like me and him had it. Like me and you. Like we had an argument, and then Paxton was like, "Fuck this shit. It's stressing out Mike." And I was like, "Oh."
and then I was just gone before you knew it.
Yeah, like that's what Paxton would do. Like he would see somebody stressing somebody out or something, and then all of a sudden they would
Yet
just disappear.
Paxton
He's
was a
like,
Liberty Gestapo. Whenever somebody was
yeah,
causing trouble, they'd just disappear.
not
But
exactly my style, but I mean,
but
some
it
days it was
worked.
fucking yeah, like whatever.
And by the time
Like
I came back, I was about. By the time I came back, I only lasted about 1 week until I was no longer an Ancom. I
we
was pretty
destroy.
much where I am now.
I mean, I don't really have a problem with the Ancoms though. I don't think I tried that hard.
I make fun of them a lot, but I don't have any hard feelings.
No hard feelings.
No, just
Um,
I've been there. I get it. You're 14. You're an Ancom. Makes sense.
Yeah. So like what was it that like got you interested in joining MLTP in the first place then?
Well, my best friend at the time was part of it, and he was starting to sort of rise up. He was trying to do a little bit of help with you on the research team. And then I came, and then I sat for a while, and then I got kicked, and then I came back as soon as I could that time. Thanks to Kush, peace be upon him. He's no longer with us. And then I started joining the research team, and that was right before the Kentucky Fall Guy situation.
Yeah, I remember like I was like in my kitchen kind of like pacing around trying to fucking put everything in order in my head and I started just talking about it and shit and then you were like, "Holy crap, we're
Yeah,
gonna die."
yeah. Because when I started, you put me on like something minor on the back burner, the Kokesh thing, and
Yeah.
and then I overheard you talking to somebody about the Kentucky Fall Guy, And I thought, hey, this sounds really interesting. This sounds like a real story. And you're like, don't worry about it. You're going to get killed.
Yeah, I was like, no, you're a kid. You can't get him. No kids are allowed to get involved in this.
And I'm like, no, but seriously, what's happening? And you're like, do you want to be dead in a fucking ditch? And I'm like, that's a risk I'm willing to take. Tell. So you told.
I make all my friends by asking them if they want to be dead in a ditch. That's exactly how I make my friends.
That's your opener. Mike walks up to a bar, slides up, and is like, hey, babe, so you want to end up dead in a ditch tonight?
That sounds like the way fucking serial killers would make friends with people, to be honest. I'm not going to lie.
Well, except this time you're not the one killing them.
Yeah, I'm like, hey, would you like to end up dead in a ditch with me?
Hey, babe, let's go back to my ditch and get out of this place. But
don't worry, we're just gonna get no-knock rated in my ditch. It'll be fine. Don't bring your dog.
Yeah. So that's how I got started, and then I've been working with you guys from then up until December. Yeah,
I remember when you started getting an interest in trying to like cover the stuff that was going on around you, and
I have the dates on my phone.
Yeah, the some like kind of spicy, not nearly as spicy as like the shit that the news has been throwing at us and stuff, but Phoenix has some minorly spicy shit going on.
It was May 10th.
And it was making me very nervous.
Yeah. So in Phoenix, it's a strange dynamic because you have two very large communities right next to each other. The northern bit of Phoenix is very, not necessarily conservative they're like John McCain conservatives, because everybody in all the Republicans in Arizona are either like Trumpsters or John McCain simps, which I am sure is why Trump lost Arizona, because he talked so much shit. But
yeah.
So you have that as a very large area in the richer areas. But then once you get into the Black and Latino community here, which is very large, especially in South Phoenix, they're not voting for fucking Trump. So you have two communities. Obviously, the conservative is typically a bit larger than the more socially liberal, but both of them are very vocal. It's very polarized here. Not a lot of middle of the roaders, at least in my experience. There's a lot of people like Antifa here aren't like casual, edgy kids who just show up to make some noise. Like the people here are fucking like hardcore. They're not like throwing Molotov hardcore, but like if they had the numbers, they'd probably be throwing Molotov hardcore. You know what I mean?
It was enough to make me relatively nervous about.
You were fucking freaking out the first time I went back in May.
Oh my god, my Liberty kid is out there. Shit.
I'm doing journalism.
You were doing it like me. Like I kind of expected you to get some people to go with you and stuff, not just run out there by yourself with a camera.
Well, I opened with, I learned everything from you, so I ran the fuck out there and I started recording shit.
I mean, to be honest, I wish more people would do that kind of thing. And like, a lot
I don't. It's exhausting. Save yourself the effort.
No, everyone needs to do it. Put them on fucking camera. Make them make everybody protect your communities and stuff like that by recording and shit like that. Also, it is defending your community from the media. 100%. One of our number one enemies at this point.
I have had a number of situations where the media have just straight up lied. I remember there were some good people for good trouble who were with Bruce Franks Jr., who's fucking awesome. And that was, I believe, let me just check the date real quick. August 9th. They were out there. They marched up to the Phoenix police headquarters. They yelled. I yelled. I got a gun shoved in my face. I stopped yelling very quickly after that. And
did they stop yelling?
No, they did not stop yelling. They were still yelling when I was running because pepper balls. This was the second protest I went to, and pepper balls scared the absolute fuck out of me. So I ran, and after getting some good footage, I got the majority of it, but I got there, got out, and met a few people. But that was the first time that I struck off a square in my what I like to call a fun little protest game called Death Threat Bingo, which is where I need to get 5 protest related groups to threaten me, and the first one I got was the cops.
I mean, I'm not surprised at all.
No, not at all. There was a flashbang shotgun shoved in my face, and it was not very pleasant.
I mean, but, speaking of your bingo cards, have you had? I mean, like I've heard you tell stories of people that you like hit it off well with, and you've had trouble too.
Yeah, BLM Phoenix Metro didn't like me very much. I saw a dude in a Hawaiian shirt. I walked over to the dude in a Hawaiian shirt, and I'm like, "Yo, Igloo?" And he's like, "What?" And I'm like, "Oh fuck, he's not one of them." So, so I'm like talking to these guys. Asking, okay, so if you're not ready to ooga booga, then what are you doing here? Who are you? Why are you here? What do you believe? Yeah, doing journalisms. And then I try to walk back over to the main protest group, the BLM people, and I get stopped. And they're like, "Hey, who the fuck are you?" I'm like, "None of your goddamn business. You got a warrant. I'm trying to go cover a protest here." And they're like, no, you're talking to those guys, and we don't like those guys. So then there were some people around me. There were some very vague threats thrown at me, which is when I checked BLM off of my bingo card. And there was some intimidation going on. I very nearly pissed myself. And eventually they let me go past, and I gave them the MLTP website because they didn't believe me because I didn't have a press pass. Note to self, I need to get a press pass. And then
you can make your own press pass.
Yeah, I'm lazy. But and plus not having a trespass gets me into trouble, and trouble makes the best stories. So but that was when I checked BLM off, and I left relatively soon after that happened because I no longer felt safe, considering that they all now thought of me as the other instead of one of their people. So I left to return another day, trashed them on Twitter.
We have become at this point.
I know. I'm just like, "Hey, I'm a journalist," and they're like, "Where's your press pass?" And I'm like, I don't have one. And then they're just like immediately like, "Oh my god, it's a fucking Fed. He's trying to kill us all." Which, to be fair, would be my reaction as well. So I can't judge them too harshly.
Well, I mean, yeah, no, they have everybody out there incredibly paranoid, and it's not like I don't feel like it's a fucking like black mark against their person or their personality.
Oh no, I don't hold grudges.
It's natural that people are paranoid at this point because we know, like, a lot of groups have caught these people inside their groups, inside their protests, trying to screw shit up.
Knowing what I know now, I would have been a lot less harsh on them, and I probably, being a bit more experienced in talking to people now, especially after I went to all of the Stop the Steal protests and talking with people whose IQ I could count to on my fingers. Flat earthers, by the way, not necessarily the average Trump supporter, specifically the flat earthers. Okay. I think that I've gotten to the point where if I was teleported from right now back to, I think that was October when that happened. Yeah, it was October. I definitely would have been able to diffuse the situation a lot better. And in part, thanks to what Mike taught me.
Well, I mean, that stuff comes with practice too. Like, you have to be a certain level of relaxed in the face of like people who want to beat the crap out of you. I blame it the PTSD on me because like I just don't have the ability. Like,
I blame generalized anxiety disorder.
There's something about being like faced down by a bunch of people who might beat the crap out of you that just doesn't fucking bother me, and I don't know why.
It bothers me. It bothers basically everybody who isn't you, Mike.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, it's got to be some sort of mental illness or something.
You're broken.
Yeah.
Mike.exe is not responding.
Look, You know, if you can turn your mental problems into a superpower, do it. Everyone probably can one way or
You got to make that into a t-shirt, turning our mental illness into a superpower.
mental illness superheroes. I don't know. But I mean, like, you have come a really long way and stuff like that. It's kind of amazing to like think about how you were just like this punk kid when you first showed up, and now you're like almost of
This
like
punk kid who ran a great D&D campaign. Give me
you
some
didn't
credit for
start
that.
running the D&D campaign
Oh no,
until you
yeah,
were
that wasn't
already
until
in it.
later. That wasn't until
Yeah,
later.
like I liked the D&D campaign, but then you quit running it. Now I'm like, ugh.
You have nothing else to do on Tuesdays?
Well, no, I just went back to working on Tuesdays.
Oh, damn it. I was going to start another one.
Well, I mean, I'm off on Sundays.
Challenge accepted. I'll make it work. But besides
You heard
LiberTEA,
it here. We play D&D. We're nerds.
LiberTEA.
Liber D&D.
But yeah, I can definitely note some of my improvements over time. Of course, I'm in a very early stage. I am a total noob when it comes to citizen journalism. I know nothing, and I don't even know what I don't know yet. So, considering I'm just counting right now, the
Yeah,
10.
but you live in proof that just anyone can pick up a camera
Oh,
and
yeah,
fucking go
anybody
out
can.
there.
And I know I was joking around about you shouldn't do it. It's a lot of work earlier, but the more people that do this, the more we can hold people accountable. I've called out NPR for lying about stuff. The Arizona Republic spread some lies a long time back about how many people showed up to protests. They underestimated the number greatly. Here's one that I want to call out. News Nation Now can go shove their Phoenix coverage from the J17 rally up their ass, because they were implying in their video that the protesters were Trump supporters, which they were not. They were Boogaloo Boys.
Yeah, I think we have some pictures from that, don't we?
Oh,
You
that
want me to
was
share
so
them?
much fun. Hell yes, I do.
So how did it go while you're while I'm sharing these? Like, tell us what it was about, because like I've had a bunch of different people come in and tell about the protests at J17 and what was going on. And I mean, like, you're not a boy, but
I
you
am
were
not.
there.
But I am in my journalisms. I
They
am.
had a big ass fence up, huh?
They had 2 fences and barbed wire, and the National Guard was on standby.
Oh, for the
4.
love of
Guess how
God.
many people showed up? Drum roll, please.
Oh,
4.
2?
4.
4?
There were 4. 2 in the picture. So the National Guard, the feds were on the roof.
And I assume they're okay with this one because it was on Twitter.
They so
I love
yeah,
that
well
flag.
they posed for the picture, so that's like, yeah, they weren't exactly hiding.
Yeah. Well, most of us really weren't.
No, but there were some. It was very interesting. I got to mingle with some of the real journalists, or I shouldn't say real, because I'm a real journalist. Some of the paid journalists, and get a bit of insight there. But when the guys showed up, you really saw it was a great opportunity for
They
them.
definitely look like they're about to storm. Like, they look so angry and
Oh my,
about to
yeah,
storm
though,
the
like,
Capitol,
look,
like,
you see that
so
grin?
angry.
That's such an evil grin. They're like
That's a
smiling
violent
and
grin.
peace signs. We all know that peace signs mean V for very probably going to storm the Capitol at some point in the near future.
What is this, by the way?
So there are in front of the Arizona State Capitol. Well, the first thing that I like about this is Winged Victory, the statue on top. It's actually a wind vane, and we bought it in the 1800s when we were a territory. And cowboys used to shoot it to make it spin because it was a wind vane. Fucking Arizona 100. And then in the courtyard in front of the state capitol, you have the historic capitol and the Capitol Museum right there in the middle. To your right, I believe, is the State House, and to the left, I believe, is the Senate. I might get those mixed up, though. In front, there are a number of memorials and statues. I can't remember for the life of me what exactly this memorial is, but there were some flowers on it in the fence, and it was just a great picture. But they have like the memorial to the USS Arizona, and they have all sorts of stuff over in the courtyard in front of the Capitol. It's a really amazing complex. It's really beautiful. Too bad the
It is
government
kind
owns
of
it.
pretty, especially with the sky and everything. Like it was so blue and everything.
Yeah, and then it like started raining for an entire week, and nobody here knows what to do because it's a desert.
They're like, what the fuck? There's water
I, I
coming from
woke
the
I woke up
sky.
and there was like ice on my windshield, and I don't own an ice scraper because I'm in Arizona.
Well, what was it like getting to chat with the regular journalists and stuff? Were
Well,
they
I memed a fair bit, and I'm proud of that. One great exchange was they were talking about how much they got paid being staff versus freelance, and I just chipped in with, "Wait, you guys are getting paid?" And only one person got the meme reference. But we were talking about all sorts of stuff. They sort of stopped talking to me once they realized that I was like, because I started chatting it up with the boys and I will freely admit that I have my biases and that I am ideologically a libertarian. There's no hiding it. I believe in freedom. I believe in liberty. Those are the two most important things. Well, they're the same thing. That they are the most important thing in the world to me. So I'm going to be more capable of making friends in organizations that are liberty-minded, such as the Boog. And when they saw me being friendly towards the protesters, when I was talking to them, getting their statements, and that sort of thing, and they just sort of like, oh shit, who's this guy who thinks that he can be a decent human being to the individuals who he's covering?
Yeah.
But very few people were blatantly impolite to the Boog, and that shocked me. There was not a lot of the bias is definitely in the writing, not necessarily in how they're treated down on the ground, because nobody wants to admit that they're going to trash them later.
Yeah.
But you definitely did
That's
see
true.
people getting misinformation being spread, the media lying to the people, which is not uncommon, sadly, in today's day and
Did
age.
they twist it pretty bad or
In the News Nation Now video, in their YouTube video, with the lady talking about it, they're like a group of armed Trump supporters, and they pan over to the Boogaloo guys, and I'm like, wait a minute. The Trump supporters, for the most part, weren't armed. So in saying it was an armed protest of Trump supporters, that is directly implying that the Boog, the ones who are armed, are Trump supporters, which is very wrong. And that's obviously the impression that they were trying to give off.
yeah.
Because it's politically beneficial. It's beneficial for both sides because the left gets to demonize them saying they're Trump supporters, and the right gets to be like, hey, look, we have more numbers because they also count.
Yeah.
Except for when they do something freedom-oriented and get fucking trashed by the right-wing media too. The wonders of being a third party, am I right?
Yeah. Right? Nobody hates, nobody fucking likes you. You don't
They don't like you, but they still want to use you.
Yeah. No, I know that feeling all too well. Like, back when I was kind of like just getting involved in the political arena again, like I was knee jerking away from the left, and all of these like right leaning people were like, yeah, keep saying that. And then like I turned around and was like, I'm fucking talking about you.
You have to say that a lot. You have to clarify, like, no. This is to you too. I've seen that happen a couple times on Twitter too.
Don't get fucking excited. I'm talking about both of you motherfuckers.
It's that one Office meme where the person just sneaks up behind what's his face. He's like, "Oh fuck."
Oh yeah, like where they're like that moment when they think when a so and so supporter hears you saying this, and you're just like,
They're like, "Oh fuck, where'd you come from?"
Yeah, no, like I've experienced that a bunch of times. There have even been moments when it was like, I remember on Twitter when you were talking to when you decided to do your BLM joke.
Oh my god, that's a wonderful joke. Can I tell that joke real quick?
Sure.
Okay. So, fuck BLM. I'm going around and I see the BLM shut down a road. And you know what? They have no right to shut down the road. I paid for those roads. My roads. I can't believe that BLM would do this. And that's why the Bureau of Land Management is bad for shutting down a road in the desert on public lands.
Yeah, that was the thing that he said, and it immediately pissed off like a bazillion people who only read Fuck BLM.
Yeah, they just
And
saw that, and but then they started denying it. They're like, "Well, you were still implying." I'm like, "No, you didn't read the punchline."
yeah, like it's very fucking clear.
Oh yeah,
And I came in and I was like,
nobody
"You're."
knows what the
I
Bureau of Land
remember
Management is.
I saw
BLM
that
means
and
Black Lives
started
Matter now,
laughing.
and it's
Yeah,
like,
but
what
like
do you think people thought BLM meant from 1946 to like 2011? Because it wasn't Black Lives Matter.
exactly. Like
No disrespect against Black Lives Matter. I totally support the movement, not less so the organization. But like, come on, people, take a joke.
no one can take a joke anymore. You
No.
know, that was kind of like like I came in and I was like, "You're stupid for expecting people to read the whole thing." And the rest of you are fucking stupid for not reading the whole thing. And like one of the people who like was like
Who was like
specifically had not
railing
read the
on
whole
me.
thing and was railing on you, saw me call you stupid first and fucking liked it. And I was like, "Bitch, don't fucking like this. It's about you too."
You're like, I can't believe these people don't read the whole thing. You're both stupid. And then they don't read the whole thing and like your post.
Yeah, and that's how it is. Like people only gonna read the first line of your tweet, y'all. For now on, for perfect reference, just expect everyone to only read the first line of your tweet. Um, it's just it's crazy how people have gotten so freaking worked up in all of this shit that they can only see
Black and
like,
white.
well, it's
It's
not
just,
even
it's
black
us
and
and
white.
them.
Like
It's like, I'm not saying black and white isn't
they're
race. I mean
going
like black and white
around
is us and
consistently
them.
looking for something to be angry at. If they can't find something to be angry at, they will fabricate it.
In a
Um,
world where you're with us or you're against us is the prevailing mode of thought, the people like us who aren't with anybody are assumed to be against everybody, which isn't far off because everybody sucks. But that's besides the point.
I mean, personally, I'm not really against anyone except for Nazis. And
Okay,
well, like,
yeah, Nazis,
I'll just be more broad. I'm not really cool with bigots of any form
yeah,
at all.
including
Um,
you, Ukrainian genociding assholes. You know who I'm talking about.
okay, but
Yeah,
like,
there's a very
um,
specific person on Twitter.
it's really strange. Like this third wheel setup is actually way more chill with everybody than everybody else is with anybody.
Yeah.
I think that's one of its biggest turn-ons at this point is that we're not running around looking to be fucking angry all the time. In fact, I see us being able to be happy, which is crazy at a time like this. Like,
We can call out Nazis without calling everybody Nazis.
yeah, and then some.
Yeah.
So like, what, like, okay, I know that you've like come a long way and everything like that since you first started. If there was anybody who was trying to get started as a citizen journalist right now, what would you tell them to try and like help them in their early stages?
Meet people. It's
Talk to people.
journalism is 0.001% going to protests and 99.99% meeting people. If I didn't have my contacts in the Boogaloo, I wouldn't have been able to do J17. Actually, a lot of the journalists who were there waiting at the Capitol since the break of dawn because they didn't know when it was going on because they weren't talking to anybody in the Boogaloo. I showed up 30 minutes before it was scheduled. They got there at 6 a.m.
I mean, all they
So,
would have needed to do was look at a fucking flyer.
I mean, yeah, come on, guys. And these are the people with the huge corporate research behind them. And I'm like some schmuck on the internet, and I was able to find it. But if it wasn't for my contacts in the Boog, I'm confident I wouldn't have been able to go there. If it wasn't for me being able to name drop my contacts in BLM and Antifa sort of organizations, I might not have been able to make it out of that confrontation I had unscathed. If I wasn't able to prove to them, like, no, I know people, I'm cool.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm cool with you guys. Just meet people, talk to people. Interviews don't always have to happen at the protests on the side of the street. They can happen in DMs. Like
Yeah.
that, it's all you got to do. And it's something that I'm working on because I know that I'm not good enough at it. And for the longest time, I just leached off of Mike's network because it's super fucking good. And that's another piece of advice. Find somebody who knows like a lot more than you, and just like do what they do until it becomes natural. Imitation is the best form of flattery.
Don't pick me. I'm like
Mike,
ridiculously
yeah, I
reckless.
claim Mike. I
Well, I
claim
mean,
Mike.
I'm a bit reckless. Like, I wouldn't suggest that people just go out in the streets by themselves. Like, I don't
Well, you
really do
wouldn't
that as
suggest it,
much
but you led by
anymore. But
example, and this is where I am. But yeah, find somebody who knows who does what you want to do, and start imitating them. Not necessarily Mike, definitely not somebody else who's also getting into it, like new, but find somebody who you want to imitate. And imitation, as I said, is the best form of flattery. So
I mean, yeah, I
does
did
Mike
that with like,
necessarily advise people to run out into the street with their phone cameras, taking pictures of everything and getting guns pointed at them? No. But I know Mike, and I know that if Mike was in my shoes, that is exactly what he would have been doing.
I'm a bad influence.
Horrible influence, but it works. So it can't be too stupid if it worked.
Well, go figure. My original early influence was one of my teachers, and they used to be a war correspondent, so maybe that has something to do with it.
Hey,
But no, I mean, like, it's totally correct. Like, I didn't actually have somebody there teaching me either. Like, I would just go out there and, like, I emulated the people that I watched that encouraged me to do it, and I'm still not as good as the people that I emulated then. I'm learning shit. I'm getting way better at this sort of thing, but I think that I've still got a ways to go before I'm like pulling a We Are Change kind of thing or something. Who knows? I mean,
everybody's got more places to go and more things to learn.
yeah, if you ever stop learning, there's a problem. Oh, I got
Yeah.
a LiberTEA. Everybody say hi to the LiberTEA. Oh,
Hello,
he
Liber
squeaked.
Kitty. Oh, you squeeze a Liber Kitty and it's
Yeah, it was a
this
little
chew
bit of
toy.
it's they squeak. They don't meow like regular cats.
Your Liber Kitty is a chew toy for my Liber doggy.
He looks so annoyed right now.
He is so fed up with your shit right now.
He is. I've been bothering him all damn day. But so like, if you could have done something differently in your starts, what would it have probably been?
Okay. 100% serious. I swear to God, if you're going to a protest, especially if you're in the Phoenix area or in Tucson or in LA or San Diego or basically anywhere in the Southwest especially, and it's May 10th, bring fucking water. I would, like, I now have a case of water in the back of my car in case I get a call and I need to go downtown, because for the first 3 or 4 that I went to, I didn't have water and it was not fun
at all. Oh my God. Yeah,
I didn't have a water bottle.
Actually kind of
So,
dangerous.
and so I was out there running from the cops and it was 120 degrees outside and it was just a mess.
Here I am running from the cops without a water bottle.
Yeah, see, but here's the best part. If you don't have a water bottle, there's nothing for you to get too angry and throw at the cops before getting a battery charge and your life ruined. So it does remove that element of risk. You can't throw a water bottle at the cops and get shot if you don't have a water bottle to throw at the cops.
Have you been able to make a rapport with the police yet, or are they still assholes to you?
I don't think they know who I am. I'm a nobody and I'm quiet. I've talked to quite a few officers, especially during the curfew. I was wandering around downtown looking for a protest during the curfew, and one of the officers said, "Hey, kid, curfew, get back in somewhere." And I said, "No." And he's like, "Excuse me?" I'm like, I'm like, the curfew has a specific exemption for journalists. I am a journalist. Where's the protest? and he just sort of like looks at me. And you could like see the steam come out of his ears. He wasn't angry. He was just thinking, like, cogs are turning. And he's like, I don't think I can tell you where the protest is. And then I hear an explosion off in the distance, and I'm like,
never mind, I found it.
And thank you anyway. Have a wonderful night. And I just ran. That happened, and then like a ghetto bird is up in the air, and you hear flashbangs, and I'm like, never mind, I think I got this. But that was the most
like
interaction.
A long way too, because like I remember the first time you went to a protest, you were telling me about all the crazy shit that was going, and I was like, really, where's your footage? And you were like, oh, I didn't get any footage. I was hiding behind a trash can. And I was like,
no, that was the second one I went to. It wasn't a trash can, it was a bench.
Oh, whatever.
There were pepper balls. See, okay, so I got a lot of footage from that day. The issue is I didn't get footage of the police shooting the pepper balls at people because I was one of said people. And because I don't want to get hit by pepper balls, I was behind a bench. So instead of seeing the cop shooting at me, I was not getting shot, which I thought was the advisable path to take. Now I just take it. You know what? I've got a handkerchief. I can fucking cry my eyes out, pepper sprayed up. I'll live.
Well, yeah, and I mean, like, once you
I also didn't have a water bottle.
Pepper balled enough, you fucking kind of get used to it.
Yeah, I got a whiff of that stuff and ran. I'm like, nope, not today.
No, this is. But I mean, but then, like, it wasn't long before that you were sending me footage of, like, you were, like, standing right there, filming these people getting beat by cops and stuff.
A couple of people got dragged into the headquarters, when we were in front of there.
But, I mean, like, you have gotten bolder, obviously.
I wouldn't say bolder. I would say more reckless and stupid.
That's
because
the same thing.
Because the thing is, you can be safe or you can do something worth doing. And it's a sliding scale. You're either, the more safe you are, the less you're going to get. So everybody's got to find that balance of, okay, what risk is acceptable? At that point, I knew that if I went back home pepper sprayed and with a black eye, then I would not be allowed to go to protests in the future.
Fair.
So, and now that everybody I know has just accepted the fact that I'm going to get shot by the cops eventually, it's a lot easier for me to get away with being more reckless and getting better footage, meeting new people, and going out there more often.
I mean, yeah, like, I don't necessarily suggest you stand in the middle of it and, like, film fucking, like...
But you know I'm going to do it anyway.
Canisters flying past your head and shit like that, but it can get some really good shots.
Mike is like, I'm not telling you to put yourself in danger, but if you're going to put yourself in danger, you better get some good footage.
Yeah, basically, like, make it fucking worth it.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to, like, Hollywood this shit up or anything like that, but
it's 90. It's not that much getting tear gassed. It's a lot more Twitter.
Twitter.
It's a lot of Twitter.
Dangerous.
Twitter is dangerous because it's addictive, and don't do drugs instead of Twitter. I promise, drugs are less addictive. But
they're probably less likely to make you want to kill yourself too.
It's like, okay, sure, the dude on coke jumped off of a hotel building, but have you seen Twitter?
The dude on coke wasn't trying to kill himself. He thought
he just thought he could fly. But a lot on Twitter. Do a lot of networking. Follow people, and they'll probably follow you back. Usually,
one of the things that, like, some people don't seem to always. Oh God,
Mike is tired.
I'm not.
I'm boring.
Actually,
I'm
just
just
can't
a
stop
boring
fucking
subject.
yawning.
I'm more interesting when I do the interviews.
Follow people you don't like. Follow people you disagree with and shit like that.
I wish there was just a follow all button on Twitter so I could just follow everybody.
Oh God, don't do that. Like, once I got above a few hundred people, I started making lists. Because in the Twitter function you can set up lists.
Mike is the Twitter Gestapo. He's making lists.
Yes, I'm making lists. But like you can check these lists and they have their own feeds
Are you
and
checking it
like
twice?
I usually check it a few times.
Do you have lists of
Um,
people who are both naughty and nice?
yes, I do. Yeah.
Mike is Santa confirmed.
No, I'm Krampus.
Uh, so,
But
but yeah, lists are fun, but I'm disorganized, so I just have a hell of a feed.
I'm like OCD levels of organized when it comes to social media because like I've gotten to the point where if I'm not super organized, I can't see anything. Like
Ain't
I
nobody
had to
got
clean
time
up
for that.
my feed and put lists and like I stopped following a bunch of people and just had them on the lists and stuff because like my main feed, I couldn't read it. Like it was moving so quickly, I couldn't fucking read it. Like I'm
Mike
not
is just
gonna
too
lie.
popular for his
Y'all
own
don't
good.
over No, that was how many people I was stalking.
Oh, Mike is too good of a
Just
stalker for his own good.
yeah, don't overpower yourself by following too many people. Make some fucking lists out there. But like,
Make like
have you had any
AOC and
problems on
lists.
Twitter yet? I don't think like have
I've
you
been
been
suspended a few times. I got so on J17, I was talking to somebody trying to like get into contact with them because they're also assistant journalist. And I was like, "Oh, hey, interesting. Who are you? What do you do? How did you get into this?" And we were chatting, and they're like, "Okay, so how can I contact you?" I'm like, "Oh, Twitter." And then they searched for me on Twitter, and I didn't show up. Shadow banned boy hours. So I then made a new Twitter, and I know a lot of people, about 600 or so, are following my shitpost Twitter, which is fun. But I'm going to be doing actual journalism on a separate Twitter now, so people can find me.
Yeah, he switched over to having two Twitters like what, like a week
So,
ago or so?
actually, yeah, the night of J17, I believe.
Um and if you
So,
guys want to follow his new Twitter, it is linked below.
in description.
My
Um,
personal advice is to also get on other platforms too.
yes, MeWe is good for connecting with people in the Boog. Good for networking on that side.
I actually
Most of the
connect with a
mainstream
lot of
people
people
aren't
that
there.
are on the right over there too because they left, like Facebook and shit. Do you
Yeah.
have a Facebook?
Uh, so I am not a real libertarian because I have not yet been banned off of Facebook. And I don't intend on getting banned off of Facebook because that's the only way that I'm ever going to be able to contact my great aunt. So my Facebook is me, like real life me.
Super
So
private.
like so
Well, yeah,
no,
because
people
you weren't staff on the MLTP Facebook because like the rest of
I
the
I never
politics.
even visited the MLTP
You
Facebook
were like,
because
I'm
I was
not
that credit.
touching this.
I'm like, if I click this link, my Facebook will be gone, as with any chance of me connecting to my third cousin. So restraint. But
Honestly, I'm glad. Like, I was really kind of like upset about losing Facebook because of all the people that I lost and shit like that. But then I realized none of those people ever fucking talk to me anymore.
oh yeah, I can't
And
remember the last time I opened Facebook. I just need it there for like weddings and family reunions.
that's all it's for now. Um,
Twitter is how I Twitter is how I do real work. MeWe is how I network, and Facebook is when my second cousin, once removed, forgets his wallet somewhere at some other cousin's wedding, and he's asking me if I've seen it.
you should definitely, in my opinion, back up uh, your photography and shit like that on like mines.
Yeah, backups are fun because you never know when you're going to have to throw your phone and laptop into a lake. So you didn't hear that from me. But yeah, anonymous sources will remain anonymous. Journalist honor. And if I have to yeet a shitty $200 laptop, I will.
Well, out of curiosity, what was your like most favorite situation so far that you've been in?
In journalism,
Yeah.
right before J17, when I was talking to the real journalists, and it was just like I could just see them. I could see the two groups. There were the people who were right there on the steps of the Capitol, or as close to the steps of the Capitol you could get, by the memorials, by the statue, huddled around there, talking, getting ready. The people who got there at 6 a.m. and took a nap on the lawn because they needed to make sure they were there when stuff happened. There were those people. And then there were the dudes with the vans with the satellites on top, and the people who had to get a dolly to bring in all their camera equipment, and the people who stood 30 yards away on the lawn talking into a camera and not talking to the people who were protesting. I saw those two groups, and I'm very glad that I was in the former.
Yeah, I remember when we were in Tulsa, like it stood out the most to me because like the same thing, because like there were people running with their cameras and stuff all throughout the protesters, like up there getting gassed with everybody else and shit like that, just trying to get images and keep like track of what was happening. And blocks away, like you could look back and see them because they were all lit up and shit. You would see these people standing there doing their like Channel 5 news in the evening news kind of shit, but they were like blocks away from the fucking actual action. Like they didn't come there to cover the actual protest.
Like the lady who was being misleading about the nature of the boog, saying they were Trump supporters or implying they were Trump supporters more accurately. It's funny because I saw her walk over to get to where the protest was happening so she could talk to somebody, and they literally had to cross a street to do it. Like just to walk over to the protesters that she was covering, she had to cross a road. And granted, the road is very close to the front of the Capitol, but like it's like she was 30, 40 yards out back there with the camera guy. So that you're not here. And that's a distance where you're not hearing them giving their speeches on the loudspeaker. You're not hearing the music that's playing. You're not hearing them speaking to other journalists.
No atmosphere.
It was just sterile. It wasn't the protest wasn't even a story for them. It was a background. And
a really good way to put it.
I was breaking social distancing being so close to Brandon. So I pride myself in the fact that I go where mainstream is too much of a pussy to go.
Yeah. I mean, like, I hate to sound like I think better of citizen journalists, but I do, because they will.
Maybe we're just more stupid. Maybe we don't realize what we're getting
we're
into.
Just more stupid.
Like no, hear me out. Maybe I just don't know what I'm getting into, and I don't know the people that I'm talking to are dangerous, and I don't know that I'm going to get shot someday because they're going to think I'm with the protesters. But you know what? If I find out what the truth is, it'll be worth it. Hopefully I won't get shot though. Let's knock on wood.
But so like, okay, well then what was your least favorite time? Was that when you got the gun shoved in your face?
No, that's a hell of a story. I've been able to pick
You're
up
like, no, that's not my least favorite moment.
How can something be your least favorite moment?
Max.
Actually, I was going to say that was before I realized the dichotomy on the J17th. Getting the gun shoved in my face might have been my favorite moment because it's just such a great story to tell, and chicks dig it. And
you're like, hey,
you want to hear a really crazy story about running from the cops and getting a gun put in my face because I wouldn't get off the sidewalk? But it was my least favorite moment. Can I do two?
Yeah.
My least favorite moment is my first favorite moment. Because on one hand, I loved seeing the citizen journalists, the people who there were even some mainstream people who were up close. I'm not going to say all mainstream media is bad, but most of them are. And the people who you see, the people who you see on TV are almost exclusively bad. The people who write articles for those organizations that get buried under clickbait are usually pretty good. But seeing how professional journalism has become a sterile thing where the story isn't the story, it's a backdrop for some talking points.
Yeah.
It's like they might as well have just been standing in front of a green screen and been playing the protest behind them. because they weren't talking about what matters. They weren't listening to the people. They did a short interview, but it wasn't meaningful. The first question they asked is, why do you have a gun? Why the fuck do you think he has a gun? Like, you're not asking what they believe in. You're not asking who they are and why they're fighting for what they're fighting for.
They're the kind
You're
of press
asking,
that listens to
you're asking
Magnus's entire
scary,
protest
scary
speech
black
and then goes,
rifle.
"But what do you mean by that?"
Yeah, you just heard it. What do you mean? What do I mean? But their first question wasn't what are you fighting for? It's why the scary black rifle. That's kind of disheartening for me. And
Well, I mean, they
while
have
there
to
is a good
upkeep the
side,
narrative.
while there is a good side that there are people who are willing to go find the truth, there's a bad side in the fact that those people are very few and far between. And most people are too lazy to even search out those good sources.
Yeah, because they're not going to be on the front page.
I'm not qualified to talk about this shit. My profile picture has laser eyes. Who the fuck am I?
Dude who goes out there and does shit. That
KG
means-
based is the name of this image, by the way. I made it in Photoshop.
Hey, I like it, but I mean, you shouldn't say that because, like, you do. You go out there, people out there who.
Oh yeah,
follow
follow up to who the fuck am I is who the fuck are they to think that they get to distort the truth and manipulate the public. I'm not trashing on citizen journalists. I'm trashing on journalism.
Yeah.
Because you're either a nobody or you're a shitty
nightmare.
somebody.
Yeah. Like if you can see someone easily and they're a journalist, they're probably full of shit.
Mm-hmm.
And I hate that part about
I
journalism.
love that I get
like,
confused for a protester. It's great. The fact that I had to go on Twitter and say to this person, like, wait a minute, no, I'm not a protester. I was up there with them because I was interviewing them. That's good. And while sure, now
it's good and bad. Because people don't, when they see people interviewing people, they don't recognize them as somebody who's interviewing people anymore because it just doesn't fucking happen like that.
They're like, wait, they're talking to somebody who might disagree with them? Bullshit. They must be on the same team. But I do like that because on one hand, I am probably going to get beat up by Proud Boys who think I'm a Boogaloo Boy now. On the other hand, well, stay strapped or get clapped. Other advice, bring water and bring things to water the tree. But do what do you think, Mike? What do you think about this whole journalistic split and how it can be reconciled?
The journalistic split, I don't think it can be reconciled. Like
just
like the companies that are too big to fail. That's basically what our mainstream journalism is. It's government backed like a monopoly. And these people, they don't care about the actual stories. They care about getting people's attentions, making people angry,
making money,
the narrative,
getting power.
And the rest of the people out there who are trying to do journalism, they don't have the backing, so they don't get seen as well. They rely solely on the people who are watching, the people who want the truth. So if you ever
the people who are willing to seek out the truth.
Personally, if you guys are out there and you read something or you see something on Twitter or not on Twitter, like, you're obligated to fucking share good stuff because that's the only way that real journalism gets spread anymore.
So just retweet everything Mike and I say is what he's trying to get. This is what he's getting at.
Well, no, not just to us, but like there are a lot of really good journalists out there that are not, they haven't sold out or bought in, and they need your help. Those of you out there to get that stuff spread around. Like they can't do anything without you. Like I don't know what we would do without the people who share our stuff. We'd just be literal nobodies instead of almost nobodies.
we would no longer be awesome people screaming into a very small crowd. We'd just be idiots screaming into a void.
Yeah. And you know, it's if people stop caring about the truth, then that's all the people who tell the truth will be.
Mm-hmm.
When I was younger, I went to college even and I wanted to be a journalist. But I thought I wanted to be, like a quote unquote real journalist. And when I slowly through classes and figuring out how they did things and stuff, began to like the more I knew about it, the more I hated it. The more I hated everything that had to do with journalism. And like I got so turned off that like I put the cameras away and fucking stopped doing all of that shit. I was like, no, it's time to go do activism. It wasn't until, like a few years later when I was exposed to real journalism on the ground that I realized that, like I did want to do journalism. I just didn't want to get paid for it. Like, I
Exactly.
mean,
Journalism
I'd
is
love to
a
get
great
paid for
hobby.
it, but if you're being paid by anybody other than the public, then more often than not, you're part of the other group of journalists.
Yeah.
Ugh, now we're polarizing the journalism community.
I know. I just want,
You're with us
can
or
I
you're
get paid to
against
do
us.
good stuff instead of getting paid to do evil shit? Come on. Also, thank you, Hibiscus Society News, calling
Yeah,
me
you guys
an
are
actual
awesome.
journalist. I just checked the YouTube
They're
comments.
right, though. They're absolutely right. We need more and more and more of you. Like, honestly, any of you out there who can't do activism or don't know what kind of activism you want to do and you want to get out there and do some shit, being a citizen journalist, like, go be a neutral observer and record what you see and shit like that.
Oh, I have another piece of advice that I just realized for people who want to get into journalism, citizen
What is
journalism.
it?
Everybody has biases. It's
Yes,
inevitable.
it's
And the best
impossible.
thing that you can do, because it's impossible to fully get rid of biases, the best thing that you can do is be honest.
Honest.
Don't try to mitigate it. Try to be as objective as you can, but always remember and make sure the people who are reading what you're writing or tweeting remember that everything that I say goes through the lens of my beliefs. So if we are honest about what actually happened and we're honest about our perspective, then that gives the people who are reading the tools to adjust for, okay, maybe he said this because of his beliefs. So that's the only way to get true objectivity, is not to like hide bias and act like you're perfect like most mainstream sources do.
Yeah.
The real way to do it is to be honest about your bias and allow the people who we all work for, journalists work for the people, goddammit, to
They're
see
supposed
what we
to.
believe and see what we are saying and make those conclusions themselves. They can do the math and see where our biases are and why we're saying what we're saying.
Yeah, it's the difference between sweeping it under the carpet and pretending it doesn't exist while it still does, and addressing the elephant in the room.
Exactly.
Like usually I try really hard to just show people what fucking happened and to give the actual tone of the event. Oh man, like I did a freaking Stop the Steal event and it was really short and small, so I just did this like 40 or 50-second thing and I put like happy country music behind it because that was the actual tone of the event. Like they were playing happy country music loud all over the fucking place. So I put that music with it and just said, this happened. It was like this. It was cool. This was, like these things happened, blah, blah, blah. And then left it at that. And like, I got accused of being a fucking MAGA supporter because I didn't lie about them. It's
Oh my God,
crazy.
those Stop the Steal rallies, you got good ones apparently, because here it felt like a cult meeting. People were like dancing around with flags and circles. I
Well,
swear to God, if there were
people
burning
in
books in the
Arkansas
middle.
are a little different. I
Yeah,
think by now,
Arkansas is
listening to me
different.
talk about Arkansas, it's a bit
I
different
want to
here. I
fucking move
still
to Little
blame
Rock.
all the
People seem so
sports.
nice there.
They
They're not
are
dancing
like,
around in the middle carrying flags and singing Donald Trump themed music.
yeah. I've not heard the Donald Trump themed music. I've heard more
Don't hear
Toby
it.
Keith. Like
Don't
they'll
hear
play
it.
stuff like Toby Keith and stuff like that.
Avoid the Donald Trump themed music at all costs, as if your life depends on it.
Yeah, even if you're a Trumper, it makes you sound like a cultist, and none of it's good.
I know
Like
it's
it's
like
all
shitty
like done
pseudo
by
rap.
shitty, like yeah, like some shitty pseudo musician that's
If
like
you want to
pulled
listen
out
to
of a
rap, listen to Wu-Tang. If you want to
Wu
listen to
Tang is
political
forever.
music, Wu-Tang forever. If you want to listen to political music, listen to like Black Flag shit. Don't like
Well,
it.
I mean, yeah, and if
Eh.
you're gonna be a Trump supporter and do that kind of America shit, don't listen to the shitty stuff. Do what they do here in Arkansas and play some Toby Keith or some shit.
And don't play
Like,
Born in the USA because you don't know what that song is about if you're playing it in a political setting.
and whatever you do, don't play like the YMCA or whatever.
MAGA.
Oh my
Oh my
god.
god.
I want to die now. I hope you're happy. I want to die now.
I
This
know.
is kind of fun because like
I was at the
usually
yeah.
journalism entails being super objective, but we're just kind of here having like break room break room citizen journalist chat. Okay, so what's one of the weirdest fucking shit that you've come across so far?
Oh, the cult stuff. Easy. Like, okay, so you guys know Jake. Everybody knows Jake, right? It's he's the
Who's
dude.
Jake? Is that Q
Jake
Shaman?
Q Shaman.
It's Q Shaman. Yeah, you got to
He's
you
a
know who that
local.
is.
He's a local. I talked to him at the Stop the Steal, and I lost brain
People keep
cells.
trying to say he's fake, and I'm like, I don't know how to tell you this, but I know somebody who knows who this
You're like,
person
just send him to
is and
talk
that
to me,
they're
and I will
real.
be like, I swear to God, you can't make this shit up.
Like this is too crazy to be made up.
Like I saw him dancing on a street corner in Glendale once. But dude, that and seeing them, they were marching around with flags and playing their music. And if somebody photoshopped a picture of a book, like a pile of burning books in the middle, I would have thought it was real. It was like I'm really happy to hear that your Stop the Steal there were chill MAGA supporters. Here, like they looked like they were about to fucking like.
Oh yeah,
Just
like they know that I'm an anarchist and that I don't believe in the shit they believe in and stuff. And like the worst thing I usually get is, well, I don't approve of the way you feel about the police. But
here,
like
if they knew what I
on a
believed about the
typical
police,
day, I'd
I'd be
show up and
killed.
like people are like, "Short dude, come here, give me a hug," and I'm just like, "Hi, I'm hugging everybody. I'm gonna get COVID."
Like if the people here knew what I believed about the police, they probably wouldn't have been. That would not have been welcome at that rally.
I
And
mean, I
so,
have had a couple of moments that were like real fucking weird, but it was only with some of the fringers.
I do remember another good moment because I'm doing two of each now. Wait, did I ever get to the second bad moment?
I don't think so. You only did the first one.
I did the first bad. We'll get
We're
to that
just back
later.
and forth about this stuff.
Okay, so we got the good, the bad, the weird. Back to the second good is I really did like when I was first covering the Stop the Steal, I met up with a couple of Boog boys who were down there doing security in case there were counter protesters.
Yeah.
And one of them, Nate, wanted to buy because there was a chick who had like paintings and they were super dope paintings, and he wanted to buy one, and it was great. Nice guys, went down
Just
there, met them.
aesthetically.
It was like a paint. Oh my god, it was great. But there were the counter protesters, the protesters, and there were the Boogaloo boys who naturally, due to my because like shit was pretty tense there. And I know that if anything bad happened, the people who I would want to be near were the Boogaloo boys because they have guns and they like me, as opposed to has guns and doesn't like me and kind of likes me but doesn't have guns. So
that was the right and then the left, right?
that was the right and then the left. Yeah, the Trump supporters who had guns but were not too fond of me. The Biden supporters who were nice people, but they wouldn't exactly be great in a firefight. And then you had the Boog boys who I was chilling with.
You're like, you're nice, but you're not gonna help me.
It's like good luck. I'm gonna be over here with the dude who's tossing me a rifle. But I'm out there and I was talking to them, and they played like Bad Boys, and we were heckling them for their Back of the Blue bullshit. And that was fun. Some solidarity within the Liberty community. Random libertarian boy and the Boogaloo were able to jointly heckle a Stop the Steal rally. And we got some
like
nasty ass looks. Like we were like, boo police. And then like everybody just like flipped their heads. And like it was like Indians. And they like flipped their heads.
One of those cartoons.
You saw the person with the Rex Kwon Do American flag parachute pants looked over at us. And we were all like, oh my God. And by the way, I couldn't stop laughing.
Y'all are going to get beat up by MC Hammer.
Second weird moment. Now I'm going to another weird moment. Was when I was at a protest and I saw somebody and I couldn't stop making Napoleon Dynamite references whenever I was near them, hoping they would pick up on the fact that they looked like fucking Rex Kwon Do. Like they had the American flag parachute pants, and it was hilarious. And I want a pair.
I like parachute pants. I can't imagine me wearing American flag parachute.
Rex Kwon Do.
Like, I'm not gonna lie, I come from a time where it was fairly normal to wear them, and they're comfortable. I'm not gonna lie, they're very comfortable. I'm not a boomer, asshole.
You're basically a boomer.
No, I'm Gen X. Fuck off. You don't know what Gen X is because most of us died from a heroin overdose. There used to be a generation between
you guys were in like the grunge and the crack era. You guys, most of y'all didn't make it.
Let's not forget mescaline. Jesus Christ Almighty. We had some good ones. Moments, y'all.
Imagine not being a Zoomer, because we're all just on Adderall.
I think all the millennials are on.
We're with the millennials on that, yeah.
Yeah, like you guys have Adderall. We had heroin.
The millennials are mixing Adderall with their alcohol, and that's not turning out too well for them.
Yeah, I keep seeing a bunch of memes and stuff about how millennials drink a lot.
Yeah, they do. I hang out with a lot of them.
Honestly, if I had to grow up during that time period, I'd drink a lot too. Like, I don't blame them at all. Like, I don't even blame it on millennials. I just blame it. I blame it on.
Who needs to self-medicate when you have
the latchkey kids became latched on parents.
Yeah. So,
which is weird because like it's like the opposite. It's kind of like we missed our parents, so we overparented our kids.
And then the kids all rebelled and got addicted to Adderall.
And then Zoomers happened. That's what happens.
Yeah, when you think that you have all the freedom in the world because mommy and daddy have money, but in reality you've never left your little suburban block. That's a lot of the stuff that I see. They're like, yeah, I know everything about the world. It's like, cool. Have you ever left the rich neighborhoods?
Well, I remember you were a little sheltered when we first met you, too.
Yeah, you got rid of that.
Now you're much more worldly and kind of know what the fuck is going on, but like,
broke me.
Was that difficult, like, coming out of that shell? Like, or were you just ready to do it?
I always wanted to. And I grew up with my mom was fairly fine for her childhood, but my dad and other members of my family were not so well off. Very poor. And I was always made aware that what I'm experiencing, my world is not normal. And it's like there are people who don't have anything that you do, so be grateful. And I've always gotten that message, but it didn't really start clicking to me until I started like doing research and talking to people and doing this sort of stuff. And then I realized like, oh fuck, nope, that's real. And the real world just sort of like hit me like a ton of bricks. And while it was very difficult, it was not bad. It was a lot of people
get really. I've noticed
thing to realize.
People tend to get very depressed when it happens. Was it depressing for you, or
no? It was liberating for me. Like I felt like, because I'm weird, I love knowledge, and
yeah.
it was a hard thing to learn and a hard thing to come to terms with, but it's the truth. So it at least it's got that.
I don't actually remember when I stopped being like, go easy on him. He's kind of sheltered to just being like, Max,
I,
you're a fucking moron.
I remember the time. I think that happened about halfway through the KY Fall Guy thing when I'm like, what is this? What is this? And you're like, okay, listen here, you little shit. I'm gonna give you a list. I'm gonna give you a dictionary. Okay, you're gonna look up what all these hood rat things mean. Okay, and then you're gonna and come back to me when you're not gonna be a dumbass.
Oh, I wasn't that mean.
You were pretty mean, but I deserved it, and I know the truth. And thank you.
Well, I'm just glad you're here with us. I mean, like, you're not necessarily part of the team anymore, but this is always going to be like your home
This is my
ground,
home.
and you're
Let's be real.
honestly,
This is where I
the
come
door
from.
is always open for you to come back to the team if you ever change your mind
I don't
or
think that,
whatever.
I
But
don't think that in the near future, due to my own personal endeavors and my own personal journalism, I don't think that I'm going to be able to be a regular. But you know what? If there's ever a topic that you think I would be particularly fond of and I would be able to bring something to the table, even though me bringing things to the table that isn't memes is fairly rare, I would be very glad to come on and be
oh
a
yeah, no, like
guest.
I'm totally like,
It feels
well,
weird. Usually I do the inviting. I'm like,
yeah,
I
I know it's
the
like you
show.
used to help us invite people onto the show and stuff, and now you're like, I would come, I suppose, if you want to invite me.
If you want to,
Um,
please invite me more because I love this community and I love talking to you guys and being with people who aren't dumbasses. That's the heart of it.
Yeah, well, we
And
love
those of you
having
who
you,
are
and
dumbasses are my favorite.
I'm glad you're still around and regular in the community and stuff like that, even
And
if you're
not
not.
dead. That's
Yeah,
always a plus.
definitely, definitely. And
If I
you
died,
know,
I would never forgive myself.
this place is like one big happy family, and well, okay, no, wait. This place is like one big
Family.
angry, the one big angry dysfunctional family that loves each other.
It's like every day is Thanksgiving political debate time in the happy family. Like we would be a happy family, but I'm sorry, but they're an insert politician here supporter, so I'm not gonna roll with that.
Oh my God. Honestly, like, we have so many different types of people in this group now that, like, it's
The
nice
problem
to
with big
find
tents is
that,
that
like,
they're big.
yeah, it's a big tent. We span, like, all the way across the whole fucking bottom floor at this point. We even spike up to grab onto some libertarians and shit. Our mildly statist friends,
Hi,
like, yeah,
hello.
like Max and, I mean, I think you're a little bit closer to the anarchist level line than like say Jay.
Oh yeah. I'm I make anarchists look really intense, and I make normal libertarians look like pussies. I'm like smack dab in the middle, and
Yeah,
nobody wants to claim me
you're
because
the
I'm not even a
redheaded
minarchist. Because
stepchild. Because I'm like, don't stand
the
too close to
minarchist
me, you're a
the
statist.
minarchists are like we need a night watchman state, and I'm like, wait, but the government shouldn't be doing that stuff. It should be doing different stuff. I'm like, I want the government to be minimal, but I disagree with the minarchists on what parts are
What
required.
minimal is?
Because they're like, we just need a court system, and I'm like, fuck the court system. We need a post office.
Well, I think we could do better privately.
The post office, the Navy, and depending on who you ask, the fire department. Those are what matter.
See, I've never seen a fire department in like any of my places where I've been around where it was like anything but volunteer until you get into the cities.
Yeah, volunteer fire departments are based.
Yeah, volunteer firefighters
Be
are
a
awesome.
be a volunteer firefighter. If you can't be a journalist and you want to get back to your community, be a volunteer firefighter. Or don't. I'm not your dad. So what else, Mike?
Oh my God. I was like, oh, I totally blacked out on that one. This is me, I'm blacking out. But no, even if it becomes like 10 years down the road and we're an actual network, God for fucking bid, you still have a spot, always. Always, 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 unless you become like some sort of like sold out statist loser, cuck.
Well, I'm already a
In which case,
loser.
I will come find you and beat you.
You will beat me until I am free again.
I'll beat the state out of you. You're my Liberty kid. I can't fucking let that happen.
You're like, oh, you want the state monopoly on violence? How about I break that monopoly right now, kid?
Yeah. I'm here to show you how we do this. No, I'm very proud of you. No matter what happens, I'm very fucking proud of you, and I just don't know if I say that enough because I'm usually just really hard on people. Like the whole
Mike
Uncle
is
Bobby
usually
thing
pretty
is
hard on
not.
people.
Yeah, the whole Uncle Bobby thing is not a joke. Like I'm kind of like that, but I am proud of you. You are like my little Winchester.
And I am proud of MLTP. Like, I can't believe that when I joined, like, we were tiny and we took on maybe one big story, and now we're covering protest. We have people from protests all across the country. You have like over 420 subscribers, which is nice, but I wish you would
Oh,
sit
we're
at
almost
400.
at 450 now.
Only
Yeah, I know. I made an announcement when we hit 420. I was like, we're at
Smoke it
420.
if you got
Smoke
it.
them if you got it.
And yeah, even though I'm not a regular on the show, and I'm still glad to be a correspondent, and I'm still glad to be a member of the community.
And I mean, like, I'm fucking impressed with not just the team but the community itself. Like,
100%.
holy shit! I don't know how the hell we found all these amazingly cool people, but
Like,
you guys are
a community
awesome.
that supports each other. You don't find that on the internet. This doesn't happen.
Have you heard of these cameras? These Raspberry Pi Zero body cams? I have heard of them, but I don't know much about them. They sound hella cool. I have a Hero 8 Black, Hero Black 8 something.
And I have an iPhone.
I have this little thing.
Mike has the fancy gear.
It's not that fancy, but I mean, like, it is nice. It's a really nice camera. I like it. I still can't use it to live stream though because I need 1,000 subscribers on YouTube to live stream through GoPro. So I have
You
to like
motherfuckers, subscribe to this right now. Get this man
Yeah.
1,000. No
Yeah,
libertarian under 1K subscribers.
Yeah, no libertarian under 1K subscribers. Forget the fact that I'm an anarchist. I count. I'm struggling with
You're
the
You're a
LP.
small L libertarian. You count.
I'm not a libertarian though. I'm an anarchist.
Little
And
L.
yes, there is a difference. Like there are people like, oh, everyone at the bottom is a libertarian. And I'm like, no. Maybe
Well, like,
in
you are
nature, but that's not their
libertarian.
fucking ideals.
Libertarian.
Libertarians frustrate me.
Okay, I see how it be. I see how it be.
Hey, I love my mildly statist friends. The minarchists would allow us anarchists to exist without being bothered. And I have to acknowledge that. And as I do over and over again, say society's not ready to jump straight into anarchism. The amount of people who would literally die.
They would just be like, don't know what to do. And that's why I'm not.
Like, we don't have a government, guess I'll die.
And by the way, I'm still I want to make clear that I'm not a super statist motherfucker. Like I believe that anarchy is a utopian idea that we should all strive towards. We should strive towards as little government as people can handle without just straight up being like, guess I'll die. And so far, I think that we can make it as long as we have a Navy, a post office, and a fire department.
I don't even think we need the post office.
The post office is debatable, but a lot of people would have trouble without the post office. So
I think that
leave there and there.
I think that at this moment, a minarchy would be ideal.
Change the episode title, but arguing about the post office with Maxwell. USPS or USBS?
Because people need to learn how to take responsibility for themselves again. And I'm not saying this as in like people are bad. They
people
just
are bad.
don't know how. No, they're not bad. They're freaking indoctrinated.
They're pretty bad.
They spend the first 12 years of their actual like while they're defining themselves and trying to open their minds to the world, they spend the first 12 years of that in an indoctrination center that is based off of the Prussian schooling model. And
The
when they
Prussians
come
were
out,
based, but their schooling was not.
sometimes they stay for another extra 2 to fucking 10 years after that. So like
Mike dissing college.
they
Yeah.
don't understand life. They only know what they're told, and you know it's that whole like Q thing where they were like trust the plan. Like all these people who knew something was wrong and were starting to get riled up, they were roped in by this Q thing, which is fucking heinous. Like
Just
that's a
trust that the people
psyop
who
if I ever fucking saw one.
the whole idea of
And
Q is there are people higher up who have things under control. Just wait. Do
yeah,
nothing.
just
Wait.
trust the
And
plan, and we're gonna rescue you. And
and
like
people
we're
act like
so
Q is revolutionary. It's not revolutionary. It's counter-revolutionary. Telling a person to sit with their thumb shoved up their ass until some dude who supposedly works for the insert alphabet agency, the blah 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 A, can come out and he'll declare Trump the king of America and everything will be great again. And then you guys can rejoice. But until then, sit there, be pacified, thumb into rectum.
Yeah, I can tell you now, if you don't know who fucking made the plan, you can't fucking trust it. If
And
you
if
don't
you
know
do
what the
know who
plan
made the
is,
plan,
you
you better
can't
know that
trust
person.
it.
If you do know who made the plan, and you do not understand the
Fuck,
plan,
half of
do
the
not trust
time
it.
I know who made the plan and I understand the plan and I still don't fucking trust the plan because life is not built for plans. Life is built for adaptation.
No plan survives first contact.
Oh God, no.
Another
Like
piece of advice for journalists. I thought I was going to go there, sit on the sidewalk, take some pretty pictures. Nobody would think that I'm a protester, so they would not get mad at me. I'm on their team. I'm telling the truth. I'm a good guy. I get there, a gun shoved in my face, pepper balls are flying past me, and I'm like, fuck this, a cab, let's go.
I mean, to be honest, I'm spoiled here in Little Rock because, like, I can show up and they're like, why are you taking pictures? And I'm like, because the media can't be trusted. You need citizen journalists. And they're like, oh my God, someone get this man a hug. Do you want a donut? And I'm like, wow, these guys are really angry with the media. Like, that was super easy. Like,
Well,
I'm not lying or anything. I'm dead true. It's dead true. But people here are just like they buy that story so easily that it's like, don't fucking use that against my people. I'll fucking find you. Because they're good people. But like they know the problem. And so like if you go in first being like, hey, I'm here to fucking guard your truth. Um they're really fucking accepting, and that was the left and the right. Like I've had the same from both. Like
then you
you'll
have to
get
make sure that you are actually protecting the truth, though.
well, yeah, it's your responsibility. Like I just about fucking cried the day that like George Floyd started because I was not here. And there was no way for me to not be where I was and be back here. And I was like, who's out there covering this shit? What's gonna happen to my people out there, you know? And I still went out and did it, but it wasn't home. Like I just did it where I was. But like, yeah, you have a responsibility to if you say you're gonna guard the truth, you have a responsibility to guard the truth.
And once those people hear somebody say, "Oh, I'm on your team, I'm guarding the truth," and if you
They're
break
gonna
that, then you're
believe
fucking
you.
everybody over.
Well, yeah. But the thing is, like, so many of these people are so brainwashed to believe that someone's going to help them, that someone's going to protect them. That if you tell them you're going to, they'll believe you, and that's serious. That's a serious responsibility to take on yourself. It's very stressful sometimes.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. There have been tense moments where I've been like literally backed in a corner by people and had to like de-escalate situations and stuff. But like, it didn't take much here. Before people were like, "No, this dude's cool." But you have the only way that you get to that is by actually being cool. Like if I'd have gone out there and then written a story or came on the show and talked shit about everybody, people wouldn't have trusted me again. You know, it's so easy to lose trust at this
And
point
it's so
because,
hard to gain.
yeah.
But
I mean, at this point, though, like when the last time something fucking messed up happened at one of the events, I went out there and I went on here and I was like, hey, um, we're gonna talk about this because most people out here are chill, but there is this thing and it's a fucking problem and I had to deal with it and and I called it out and everything and later I had like members of the community that weren't responsible for it being like, I'm so sorry that happened to you. You know, and like I have honestly I think they got shamed. Not by me. I think they got shamed by the community because I have not seen
good.
them out again. Like I have not seen them. They have not shown their fucking face since then. Um, and like there's always gonna be somebody who fucking hates you when
And if you're a liberty-minded folk, then
religion.
the person who hates you is going to be option D, all of the above.
Yeah, like
People
you
from all
can't
sides.
yeah, you can't go out there looking to try and give the truth and expect people to like you. Like that's dead true. Like it doesn't matter what whose truth you're telling. Like
The truth is
somebody
scary.
is gonna pop in and fucking hate you for it, or they're
Well,
gonna label you for it. And so like my advice is don't just cover one kind of thing. Um, like don't just only cover the left or only cover the right or only cover like anti-maskers or anything like that. Like if you get in a niche like that, you become a quote shill for the other side, whether you are one or not. And a lot of times people who do that are like they
yeah.
become that because that's all they can be at that point. Like it's like when you're an actor, if you get typecast, the only thing you can make money doing is or the only thing that you can make your like make any progress doing is the thing that everybody knows you for. Don't be Andy No.
God, please be literally anything but Andy now.
But like, I mean,
And hey, speaking
I
of,
feel kind of
back
bad
to
for people who start down that route because they're like, well, I'm really interested in this one thing and they genuinely just want to go out there and cover it and stuff. But
and that isn't
you'll,
necessarily saying don't have a niche, like because
yeah, no,
I do protest journalism. I don't cover fucking when a cat is stuck in a tree. I don't cover when some dude dies. I cover unless he dies at a protest. I cover civil unrest in my area, and that is my network, and that is what I do, and I want to be
yeah,
fucking great at it. And that's not what we're saying is bad. What we're saying is, well, I'm only going to cover the Trump protests because I don't feel safe at BLM, or I'm only going to cover the BLM because I don't feel safe around Trumpers. I personally feel safe around nobody because it's hard to keep track of that many guns all around me, and I need to know who's armed and who isn't, and it's a pain in the ass. But I go to all of them because all of them they're all stories, and all stories deserve to be heard. Except for the cats in the trees. Who gives a fuck about those?
the liver
Unless it's the
kitties
liver
give a
kitties.
crap about like
The
I
liver
was about to
kitties in
say
the
you're
trees.
gonna
And
upset the liver kitties. Don't upset them.
Sorry.
You're gonna
If
displease
one
the
of your
liver
cats
kitties.
was in a tree, I'm sure that they would probably be up there trying to kill something.
Yeah, I'd probably be down at the bottom being like, get the fuck out of the
What are
tree.
you doing with that bird?
Let the bird go. Oh God. They just killed an eagle. This tiny baby just killed an eagle. No. Um
They're
oh
endangered.
God,
Don't
now I'm
do it.
un-American. We actually do have an eagle here, not to that comes to roost. Not to oh God, he loves me. Um you see that I just got attacked by a Liberty Kitty, viciously mauled.
The liver kitty heard me trash talking, and they're like, "Let me at him! Let me at him! Give me the headphones! I'll
I
fucking
see
throw these
Greg
phones
doing
off."
that thing when you said that.
Yeah, the like fake fighting stance.
Yeah. But like but yeah, don't get typecast because you will become quote shill for this. Um unless you just want to be a shill for something, in which case you might as well
Good.
just be gun girl.
Oh yeah. Also, on the topic of don't be Andy No, reasons why you should not be Andy No. Number one is misinformation.
Yeah.
A lot of those people who are shills will lie. And
Yeah, they will, because
I
they have
remember
to
he
have
talked about
something that
the
fits their
protest
narrative.
on, I believe it was October 17th. There were a couple dozen arrests, and I was there. And while the AZ Patriots bitch, Jen, was backing away to the other side of the intersection saying, "You get them, back the blue," because the officer said, "Get away from the scene," and she promptly got away like a good little bootlicker. The cops were telling me to get away, and I'm like, "Bitch, you get away. I'm getting a good angle on this arrest." So, and by the way, this is after I decided that I no longer care about my own safety. So I'm like,
Yeah, I'm
trying to
like,
get
man, you've come a long way. You were like, I was hiding from a bench. I was hiding behind a bench to,
2
bitch,
months.
cop, get the fuck out of my way. I'm trying to get an image.
Yeah. I went from cop points points a gun at me and I run away. 2 months later, I'm like, "Can you just fucking move, officer? I'm trying to get this angle here."
Excuse you.
And
I think
I
that you get used to cops just being dicks, though.
just being in the
Like,
way. Like, I don't think it's intentional. They're just really good at being at the wrong place.
back when I used to first do this, like, you could say I'm a journalist and they would just walk past you. I realized shit had completely changed when I was in Tulsa, and I was like, I'm a journalist, and they stopped, looked at me, and then hit me. I was like, oh,
fuck. He has a camera.
oh shit,
We
it's
didn't turn
different
ours
now. Oh.
Yeah. But back to that protest on the 17th, there were a few arrests. I was right there. I remember I was looking through Jen, the bootlicker. I was looking through her feed on her Facebook, and somebody commented, "Oh, that poor kid over there in the polo. He's so close."
I remember that.
And they were acting like they're like, "Oh no, he doesn't know what's going on. He's probably scared." And they were literally recording me like arguing with the cop over if I could get past the line. They were like, "Oh, look at him.
No,
He's so..."
you move, officer.
I'm like,
I'm
so
so proud.
square up.
So
Oh
proud.
fuck! Wait, you have riot gear. Never mind. But
Jeez.
and that was another good moment. A bad moment, a sad moment, because a lot of people who I'm in contact with got arrested, and they're hitting a lot of people with some very, very serious charges. So they're too afraid to go back out, and BLM protests have pretty much stopped since then.
Yeah, I've noticed that, like, the now the arrests of BLM members and like Antifa
Also the
members
night
and shit,
that was
they're
also the night I checked
really
Antifa
not
off the list.
proportionate. You gotta.
But
I don't remember you telling me that one.
they were like very belligerent for the first like 15 minutes, like because I just showed up, and they're like, "Who the fuck are you? And they're like, "Who are?" And they're like, "Okay, meeting." And they all like put their umbrellas in my face, and they got in a circle and they were talking, and they're like, "Why the hell are you here?" I'm like, "I'm a journalist." And then they go back into the huddle, and then they're like, "What do you believe in?" I'm like, "Freedom above all else." And then they're like, "Okay, go back into the huddle." And then they're talking, they're like, "Whose lives matter?" I'm like, "Black lives matter." And they're like, "Okay, you're cool. You're coming with us." They were like fucking interrogating me, and I'm just like standing here in the middle of like University Park in Phoenix, and I'm like, "Okay, you didn't need like a little protection shield. I can hear you anyway, but thank you for letting me come with you and not getting the shit." But they were like very antsy for the first bit, because they're like, "Who the fuck are you? Why are you not wearing black? Why are you not doing this?" I'm like, "I'm not wearing black because I'm not one of you. I'm a journalist. I'm just here to take pictures. I won't get pictures of any of your faces. Deal?" And then, yep, all's good. But
yeah, I mean, like, people, it fucking pisses me off that people have to be that way. Like, people who are like that are not necessarily assholes. They're just trying to protect themselves and their fucking nerves.
And some of those same people are now contacts of mine who I talk to and who I'm friendly with, because desperate and crazy times end up resulting in a world where we need to make sure that everybody isn't a Fed coming here to try to make us look bad. Granted, a Fed probably wouldn't have worn a black or a bright red polo to a black block.
You
thing.
never fucking know.
if I was a Fed, and this is assuming Feds are smart, which is a hell of a stretch, but I would try to blend in. But you would think that if on the poster it says wear black, bring umbrella, and I show up with a camera, no umbrella, wearing red, then they'd be like, okay, he's probably not trying to subvert anything. Oh, wait, I just remembered why we got onto this topic. That night, 2 smoke bombs were thrown to block the police, and they were moving construction barricades to block the cop cars who were right up on their asses. Mm-hmm. And they popped a couple smokes, and Andy No reported saying 2 incendiary devices thrown at police. Now, Mike, you've been around the block. When I say incendiary device thrown at police, what do you think of?
I mean, I assume you're talking about like Molotovs.
Yeah, I thought if I just read the headline, I would have thought that some based motherfucker yeeted a Molotov in the middle of downtown Phoenix. This is not an endorsement of Molotov cocktails, but I will never say that they aren't awesome. But they're like, and he says this, and I'm like, in his comments, I'm like, no, this is not true. Like, are they okay, it was burning. Yeah, it was a fucking smoke bomb. That's not it's the implication. And then everybody was either like, how do you know it was a smoke bomb and not a Molotov? Did you see pictures? And then I show them the pictures of the smoke bombs that I took.
Yeah.
Like, yes, I did see pictures. It's called scrolling through camera roll.
Yeah. What Andy No has done to not just the right, but people who even lean right, is anytime there's been anything going on, he immediately calls them Antifa. Without even fucking anytime you I've literally been blocked at this point.
Just from correcting him?
From asking, how do we know that those people are Antifa? Did you ask them?
If you have to ask if they asked somebody, the answer is no, they didn't ask.
Well, I mean, I knew that when I asked,
I know. We know.
But the fact is that he sees Antifa in every fucking shadow and every fucking bush. Like, if somebody even looks mildly menacing, they're clearly Antifa. And it's been hell to try and get people to to break the narrative that he's built. And that even touches liberty people. The amount of libertarian, right-leaning libertarians and ANCAPs and shit like that out there who fucking believed him months ago. And I've had to fucking struggle with these people to make them realize that it really does depend on where you are as to what's happening. And to be honest, I'm not gonna condemn all this fucking violence out there. I'm gonna condemn violence on individuals. I'm gonna condemn violence on people's property that they've worked for.
Not stolen property, not taxed shit.
Yeah, I mean, but riots. What is it that people say? Riots are the language of the unheard.
Yeah.
And if people,
we wish we never got to the point where there were riots.
Yeah.
But they exist.
Oh well, you should do peaceful protests, and I'm like, we've been doing peaceful protests since I was a child. I know I was in them when I was fucking 14. We were protesting against police brutality then, and it has only gotten worse.
We've been doing the peaceful game for so long, and I honestly can't fault people for saying, hey, this doesn't work, we need to do something else.
Yeah.
Even if I don't agree with that something else. I'm a non-violent person. Well, I'm a peaceful person.
Well, I'll fucking say it. I don't have a problem. Fucking at this point, I cheer when I see people fucking burning cop cars and crap like that. And if y'all don't fucking like that, you can kiss my fucking ass. Because, I'm sick and tired of watching people getting stepped on and murdered and all sorts of shit. It's fucking high time people fucking push back. And so when I see that shit, it makes me feel good. Because I know that people are fucking pushing back for real now.
Amen.
Because these peaceful protests, protests don't do anything. They raise awareness. Riots, on the other hand, grab their attention. They make them fucking look. Now, to be fair, I do believe that they want people to be violent at this point. because it
because it
feeds
fits their
into the
narrative.
narrative that they have built, and it gives them further chances to tighten the glove or tighten the gauntlet around us. On the other hand, we can't just sit here and be good little boys and girls and non-binary pals, just because they might take away more, because they've already taken away so much. Man, it's a
For some
fucking
people, they've taken away
a
everything.
balance.
For Duncan Lemp, for George Floyd, for Ryan Whitaker, they've taken their lives. Some people aren't alive today because we didn't push back harder in the past. So who are we to blame them?
Yeah. It's a balance that needs to be found, and I don't think we're there yet. And I don't know if we're gonna get to that balance. I worry that it's just gonna overflow because they don't even wait. They don't allow people. The journalism of today is their weapon, and as soon as people start to calm down, if they throw something new in to spice it up.
A conveniently timed intervention.
Well, yeah, and it's weird because like you have the police are killing people and they know that this causes problems, right? And like you'd think that they'd try to be more careful and kill fewer people, but no, they're not. They just outright keep fucking doing it, and so there's no break in between. They go from one protest to another, one death to another.
Phoenix is the largest city, obviously, in the Phoenix metro area. And where I live is redacted, but I'm in the metro area, so I care a lot about what Phoenix police is doing. And whenever they release a critical incident briefing, which is sterile cop term for, y'all, we shot somebody, they do a briefing on it, they play body cam footage, they release that to the public. And I watch all of them because I hate myself and have no regard for my mental health. So, but there have been like half a dozen since the year started. We're not even in February yet, and people have been killed by police. 3 happened in the first week of 2021. I have a backlog of 7 briefings, 7 bundles of body cam footage that I have to watch. Yesterday, on my way to wait for spilling to happen when it didn't, sadly.
Yeah, I had a migraine. Sorry,
yeah,
y'all.
sorry. On my way to where I do my recording, I was watching a video of a guy get shot, and then he didn't throw the gun away because he was bleeding out on the floor, screaming in pain. So it's hard to throw, you know. So then they shot him more. And then they used bean bags out of a shotgun, and then they pepperballed him. And eventually they just sent a dog in to grab his arm and drag him as he's been like unloaded into, just drag his body, which was non-responsive at this point, away from the gun. So, like that's the shit that they do. And that's just, and Phoenix is bad. Phoenix is one of the worst police agencies in the country, statistically. Mesa is also really bad. Ask Daniel Shaver. God, can't even think about that without like tearing up. And like we just have such a huge problem in the country, but also specifically where I live. When I'm down at the protest, the same officers that kill Ryan Whitaker and are the same officers who are like shooting a man who's already on the ground bleeding out. Those are the people that are pointing their guns at me. Those are the people who I'm having to yell at to try to get around to get footage. So this is a huge systemic issue across all of America, but this issue is very central in Phoenix. So I think that might explain why I care so much about the protests.
Yeah,
does that make sense? Because like it's fucking personal for me. Because the people who are doing the murdering might be the ones to pull me over someday.
Yeah. You might be.
And I might be the next person who's getting murdered. I might be one of those critical incident briefings.
I sure as fuck hope not.
Yeah, martyrdom isn't very... You can't do much good work after you're martyr. It's the termination of your activism career. So I'm going to try to avoid that.
I would like you to.
Mike is just like, please don't die. I
Please
think you
don't
say that
make
to me.
me
You
that
say
fucking
that
crazy.
you say that to me like before every protest. Every
Yeah,
protest
I'm
I
like,
go
just
to,
don't
just,
die.
you're like, please, for the love of God, don't die.
I mean, it's not it's not like fucking deep in the heart of all the giant ass fucking riots and stuff like that, but I
No.
know it's dangerous and it warrants
LA, New
dying.
York, those places are going to be bigger because you don't have a lot of people in LA who are chanting black the blue like there are here. You have a lot more angry people there than you have here, but it definitely is a systemic issue. And someday, Mike, I hope that you're on the ground with me because that would be a fucking riot. Pun intended. Booyah.
Oh God. Yeah, no, I intend on coming out and seeing you as soon as possible. I think that's like one of the first things on my list as soon as I feel like I can drive long distances. I'm still getting used to that kind of crap though.
So what else is on the agenda?
Good Lord, I don't fucking know. Do you think we covered everything?
I think we covered everything. Yeah.
Do you have anything else you want to fucking say?
GameStop is based. I just wanted to throw that in because that's some current event stuff.
Yeah, that's
Because
totally. I love that
if you
shit.
guys don't know me, I'm a capitalist, but only sort of. I'm a capitalist when it's convenient to be one. I'm an individualist first and foremost. And currently, capitalism gives the most benefit to the individual. When certain companies, Robinhood, decide that the individual no longer is deserving of the freedom to do with their money as they please, capitalism becomes more of a burden. So fuck capitalism, freedom, free markets, freedom for all. Hell yeah.
Well, I hope that this inspired some of you guys to get out there and stuff because we need more people out there who are willing to go and cover shit.
Or at least become a volunteer firefighter.
Or become a volunteer firefighter, yes. Or a pothole bandit because
Roads.
roads. But if you do decide that you want to get out there and you don't want to do it like by yourself or anything like that, we are definitely always looking for people on the ground to cover with us and stuff.
If you're in the
We do what we
Phoenix area,
can.
let me know. I need people to go with. If
Yeah.
I'm gonna get shot, I need somebody to carry a tourniquet.
Somebody fucking film them shooting me, please.
And then quickly put down the camera and make sure I don't bleed out.
Well, see, what you should do is carry your own and just hope somebody knows how to use it. But
city people don't
yeah,
know how to use tourniquets.
reach out and hit us up. If you like this episode, please, or you hated this episode and you think citizen journalists are stupid, get down in our comments so we can mercilessly make fun of you until you leave. Um, or get down there and tell people how awesome this is and how more people should be doing it because like that'll definitely get you a heart from me. But if you want to do it with people or you want to just get started, you don't really know how, you can definitely reach out to us. We are definitely looking for volunteers because we don't have the money to pay anybody. Everybody who works with this team does so out of the goodness of their fucking heart or boredom. Um,
Well, you got to have some goodness if you're going to do that with your free time, right?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, like, I've met some real assholes who do it too, and I can't figure out why they're doing it, but there must be something deep down inside of them that makes them do it for one reason or another. Um, but yeah, we're definitely looking for more people who want to cover on the ground in different places. And if you're not the adventurous journalist type, we have plenty of other things that you can do. If you don't know what you can do, just reach out to us. We'll find something for you to do.
I started out as a researcher. I made Mike a spreadsheet, and he instantly fell in love. And I was basically his assistant for a few months.
Oh, yeah, I have a fucking weakness for spreadsheets, and plus, like, back at the very beginning, we got a whole bunch of people who were like, "We want to help," and
And then they
like,
sat in the ass. So yeah.
Yeah, there was like 30 or 40 people who were like, we want to be part of the team, and then did nothing. And so, like, anytime somebody did something, I was like, holy shit, you did something. Um, but we'll find some shit for you to do. There's plenty of stuff to do back here with us, or if you like staying behind the scenes, we can do that. Or if you like being on social media, we need people helping with our communities and stuff like that. Definitely hit us up. And if you don't have time, but you like what we're doing and you want us to do it better, you can hit up our subscribe star. I just literally love our subscribers because you guys help us pay the bills. You keep all of the like the internet presence in existence out there, and some of our subscribers are actually team members now. Um, so like you never know. It might get you on my good side and then hired. No, I'm just kidding. That's not what it. I'm appreciative though. And also I just completely revamped our store on Teespring. So if you get over there, we have all these nice shirts and every single one of these designs. Like in the corners, you'll see the front and backs, and then up there you see our fuck the police and simp shirt. Everything has been revamped. Everything has been redesigned and made nicer. um, we have some brand new ones like our queer as fucking ready to boog and our Nazi punks fuck off shirt and stuff like that. All of them come in all these different formats. You can get hoodies, you can get shirts, you can get tank tops, you can get stickers, you can get tote bags, you can get mugs, and you can get masks. And all you have to do to get to that is jump down in our link tree or hit teespring.com/stores /MLTP. We would deeply appreciate that. That'll get you something back when you get while you're giving in or putting in. Um, we do not keep any of this money to live comfortably on. First off, there's not quite enough of that to do that for anybody, but it goes directly, once we pay the bills, it goes directly to the LiberTEA Fund. And we use the LiberTEA Fund to help people across the various liberty movements do the things that need to be done, whether that's buying shit for homeless people or getting gas to go to an event, or like anything, bail funds, whatever. If you want to help the liberty community, that's one way to do it. I do have a tendency to find out where it's needed and put it there. um, Aside from that, we have some really interesting stuff coming up next week. On Friday, which is tomorrow, I'm actually going to go on the World Pirate Radio Network podcast network, and we're going to be talking about, I believe, like the censorship and the stuff that happened on J17. I think that's what we're talking about because they're talking about having me back on later to talk about MLTP and the whole project and everything like that too. I think that this is the one where we're going to talk about like what's going on out there in the world, kind of a round thing. But I will be passing out those links, so I hope you guys keep your eyes open for it because it's really cool. And if you're not following the Pirate Radio Podcast Network, you really should be because it's some really interesting stuff. I really enjoy listening to it. And they're fairly regular, and you can just turn that shit on while you're working or whatever, and just let it go and listen to people. They bring on all sorts of people, so it's very interesting. This is my plug for the night. They are not sponsoring us. Nobody sponsors us. We don't have sponsors. Um, Nobody sponsors Liberty. What the fuck are you talking about? Liber Kitty, stop knocking things over. I'm not sponsored. Um, Anyways, so I look forward to that, and I have a pile of things that I want to talk about, so my daily episodes should be getting back. I know I see this every fucking time, but like keep your eyes open because it's gonna happen. I swear, it's gonna fucking happen. Um, until then, you guys stay safe, but ultimately always stay
Stay
free.
free.
Don't sacrifice your freedom for your safety. See you guys
Oh wait,
soon.
plug real
This
quick.
episode of Oh wait, what?
I got plugs too now. I'm a real journalist now. I
You are.
just Yeah,
Oh
I know.
shit, you have plugs. Oh god, plug things.
I know. This is so weird. I'm usually our plugs are the same, but now they are not.
Well, plug.
So if you want to hear me shit post and fuck with politicians, follow me on Twitter. I'm at anarchistmax with an underscore betwixt them. If you want to see journalism and not see my absolute mad lad shit posting, then that's serious underscore Maxwell.
Yes.
And
he's serious.
it's just you see those little pictures down there. I got KG Based, which is my shitpost account, and Afghanistan Man. Both of them are Russian soldiers, and both of them are based as hell. And look for those and those handles, and follow me if you dare, if you have the stomach for it.
Dare. Yeah. And also the links are down below in our description too, if you guys want to just be lazy and click on them.
That's
unless you're watching this over on like Twitch or Periscope, in which case there's no description of this episode. It's freeballed. Just know that our links are over on the YouTube channel for as long as they allow us to keep it, because like I have no idea why we're still here, but while we are still here, we'll take advantage of it. Thank you so much, by the way, for coming on and chatting with me tonight,
I am
Matt.
so glad to be able to be on, and you can invite me on whenever you want. I will drop everything, and I will come here.
Well, I hope you don't drop anything important.
You're right. I don't get paid enough to drop anything. I can't drop my laptop or my phone.
I'm like, don't drop anything breakable.
Preferably not my pets, but I think that they would survive.
I mean, my cats always land on their feet for the most part.
I have dogs. They just land on their side, just thump, and then they whimper away.
Oh god, no. Max exposed. He abuses animals.
Now PETA's gonna be on my ass.
Yep. Now you got PETA coming. So now Max has to run because PETA's chasing him, and I'm going. Yeah, Max, run. Until next time, we'll see you guys later. Something. Freedom. Safety sucks. Safety's an illusion. Blah blah blah. Fuck the government. Fuck Connecticut. Fuck this show. This Mad LiberTEA time is fucking